You're here because you heard that word. Submission. It's a word that makes the modern world flinch. It conjures images of control, of dominance, of a broken will. And if that's what you came here looking for, if you're looking for a set of tricks to manipulate or force a woman into obedience, then I must tell you, you are in the wrong place. Because that is the path of a weak man, a boy in a man's body, grasping for a power he has not earned. But if you're here because you felt that silent hum of discord in your home, that friction in your relationship where you feel like you're constantly in a power struggle, constantly being tested, second-guessed, if you yearn for a sense of peace, of harmony, where your woman looks at you not with challenge but with a deep, unwavering trust, then you are in exactly the right place. Because what you truly desire is not her submission in the way the world defines it. What you desire is her surrender, and those are two vastly different universes. Submission is taken, surrender is given. It is a gift of profound trust, offered only to a man who has proven he is worthy of it. It is her choice to lay down her sword, to stop fighting, to stop worrying, because she knows deep in her bones that the man at her side is a capable captain, steering the ship of their lives toward a worthy destination. She surrenders the helm because she trusts the man holding it more than she trusts herself. This is the secret that modern society has tried to bury. They've told you that partnership is a 50-50 negotiation, a constant boardroom meeting of equals. And while you are equals in value, you are not the same in your roles. The attempt to erase these roles is the very source of the friction you feel. Let me tell you about Mark. Mark is a good man. He loves his wife, Jessica. He works hard as a software engineer, provides a beautiful home, and tries to be an involved father. But their home is a cold war. Every decision from what to have for dinner to where to invest their savings becomes a battle of wills. He'll suggest a financial plan, and she'll immediately counter with a dozen articles she's read, questioning his logic. He'll try to discipline their son, and she'll undermine him in front of the child, offering a softer alternative. He feels disrespected, neutered. Jessica, on the other hand, feels constantly anxious. She feels like she has to be the chief operating officer of their lives because she's not convinced Mark has a firm grip on the wheel. She doesn't trust his leadership, so she feels compelled to step in, creating the very conflict that is exhausting them both. Mark's mistake is that he thinks the problem is Jessica. He thinks she's being difficult or controlling. The problem isn't Jessica. The problem is that Mark has not built the one structure upon which all female surrender is based, a sanctuary of absolute trust. He negotiates, he pleads, he gets frustrated, he occasionally gets angry. What he doesn't do is lead with a calm, quiet, unshakable conviction. The psychology here is primal. A woman's nervous system is biologically wired to seek out security. For hundreds of thousands of years, her survival and the survival of her offspring depended on her ability to choose a mate who was a pillar of strength and a source of safety. When she tests you, when she questions your decisions, it's not a conscious act of disrespect. It's her primal wiring running a diagnostic on your leadership. She is subconsciously asking, are you strong enough? Are you certain? Can I relax and trust you to handle this, or do I need to stay vigilant and in control to protect myself and my family? If you get flustered, if you get angry, if you back down easily, you are failing that test. You are communicating to her limbic system that you are not a safe harbor. And a woman will never, ever surrender to a man she does not feel fundamentally safe with. It's a biological impossibility. So, the tactical playbook doesn't start with things you say to her. It starts with the man you become. The very first step is to completely reframe your understanding. Stop seeing her challenges as attacks on your authority. Start seeing them as cries for leadership. She isn't trying to win. She's desperately hoping that you will. She wants to be able to relax. She wants to stop worrying. She wants to be able to lean back into her feminine energy, but she can only do that if she trusts the masculine frame in front of her. Your first mission is to stop engaging in the fight. When she challenges a decision, do not get defensive. Do not raise your voice. Do not enter into a circular argument. Simply hold your ground with a warm, calm firmness. Acknowledge her concern. You can say something like, I hear you, and I appreciate you looking out for us. I've considered that angle, and I've made my decision. Trust me on this. And then you hold. You don't need to justify, explain endlessly, or get her permission. You must become the calm center of the storm. Think of it as a currency. Every time you remain centered and calm under her pressure, every time you make a decision and it turns out well, every time you handle a crisis without falling apart, you are making a deposit into her trust account. Her surrender is not a one-time decision she makes. It is the natural consequence of that account becoming so full that she no longer feels the need to worry. In this first part, we've shattered the myth. Submission isn't about her obedience. It's about your leadership. It's not a tactic, it's an outcome. It's the prize you win when you have first won the war within yourself. Now, we need to build the foundation of that inner victory. We need to build the man that a woman can't help but trust. Before a woman can see you as her rock, you must first become a mountain. You cannot offer shelter from the storm if you yourself are a leaf being tossed about in the wind. This is the concept of frame. Your frame is your reality, your purpose, your emotional center of gravity. A man with a powerful masculine frame is an unshakable oak in the midst of a hurricane. The winds of her emotions, the chaos of the world, the stresses of daily life, they all blow against him, but he does not bend. He does not break. This is where most men fail, and it's the second great secret to inspiring her surrender. They tether their emotional state to hers. When she is happy, he is happy. When she is upset, he becomes anxious and frantic, trying to fix her mood. He effectively makes her the emotional center of his universe. To a woman, this feels incredibly unsafe. It is like being on a ship where the captain panics every time a wave hits the deck. How could she possibly relax? How could she surrender control to a man whose own emotional stability is dependent on her? You must understand this. Your emotional state is your responsibility, and yours alone. Your inner peace cannot be contingent on her approval, her mood, or her validation. Let's talk about David. David runs a small construction business. He's married to Sarah, and for years he lived on this emotional roller coaster. If he came home and Sarah was stressed about the kids, he'd become stressed. If she was distant and quiet, he'd spend the entire evening in a state of low-grade panic, wondering what he did wrong, trying to coax her out of it. His business was struggling, and he'd bring that stress home, projecting his anxiety onto her. Their interactions were tense, and Sarah was always on edge, often lashing out. He couldn't understand why she was so difficult. Then, a mentor gave him a piece of brutal advice. Sarah is not your emotional support animal. She is a woman who needs to feel safe. Your anxiety is a hole in the bottom of the boat, and she is constantly bailing water. Go fix yourself. This was a turning point for David. He stopped looking to Sarah for his sense of well-being. He started waking up at 5 a.m. to work out, not for his body, but for his mind. He began a daily meditation practice, just 10 minutes of focusing on his breath. He identified his core mission, building his business not just for the money, but for the pride of creating something and providing for his family. That mission became his North Star. When he came home now, he was different. One evening, he walked in to find the house in chaos. The kids were screaming, and Sarah was on the verge of tears, saying, "I can't handle this. Everything is a mess." The old David would have absorbed her panic, and they would have spiraled together. The new David did something different. He walked over to her, put his hands calmly on her shoulders, looked her in the eyes, and said with a warm, deep smile, "Hey, I got this. Go take a bath. I'll handle the kids and dinner." He wasn't angry. He wasn't frustrated. He was the oak. He absorbed her chaotic energy and grounded it. In that moment, Sarah didn't just feel relief. She felt a profound sense of safety. She saw a man who was not shaken by the chaos, a man whose inner peace was so solid that it could calm the storm around him. That is the essence of a powerful masculine frame. The psychology behind this is rooted in polarity. Masculine energy is at its core about purpose, direction, and unwavering presence. Feminine energy is at its core about flow, emotion, and nurturing. When a man abdicates his masculine center and becomes emotionally reactive, he enters the feminine flow. This creates repulsion because two like poles of a magnet push each other away. A woman cannot relax into her feminine essence if the man is occupying that space with his own emotional chaos. By cultivating your own non-reactive core, You create a powerful vacuum that she naturally, instinctively, wants to fill with her soft, feminine energy. She can finally stop being the rock, because you are. So here is your tactical playbook for forging your frame. First, you must define your mission. What is your purpose on this earth outside of your relationship, your business, your craft, your physical health, your spiritual development? You must have a purpose that you are more dedicated to than you are to managing her emotions. This is not about neglecting her. It's about having a gravitational center that is not her. Second, you must build emotional resilience. This means practice. Start with small things. When you're stuck in traffic, instead of getting angry, practice breathing. When you receive a critical email from your boss, instead of reacting immediately, walk away for 10 minutes. You are training yourself to create a space between a stimulus and your response. This is the training ground for becoming that unshakable oak. Third, you must become the emotional thermostat, not the thermometer. A thermometer simply reflects the temperature of the room. A thermostat sets it. When you walk into a room, your calm, centered presence should set the tone. Do not absorb her anxiety. Let her plug into your calm. When she is spinning in a vortex of emotion, you are not to join her in the spin. You are the anchor. You listen, you validate by saying, "I understand that's frustrating," but you do not take on the emotion as your own. You are the container for her emotions, not a sponge. Building this frame takes time and discipline. It is the work of a lifetime. But every step you take in this direction, every moment you choose your own centeredness over reactivity, you are becoming the man she can surrender to. You're not just building a better relationship, you are forging a better you. And that is the foundation for everything that comes next. We've established that her surrender is a gift of trust, and that this trust is built upon your unshakable masculine frame. Now, we must go deeper. We must understand what that frame needs to provide. A man can be strong, he can have a mission, but if his strength is not directed towards creating a safe world for her, she will never lay down her armor. You must become her sanctuary. This concept of safety is so often misunderstood by men. We tend to think of it in purely physical terms, protecting her from a threat in a dark alley. And while that is part of it, it is the smallest part. The safety a woman's soul craves from her man is multifaceted. It is emotional, psychological, financial, and spiritual. She needs to feel on a primal level that with you she is safe from the chaos of the world. Think about the world from her perspective for a moment. Historically and biologically, the world is a more dangerous place for a woman. Her physical strength is less, she bears the vulnerability of pregnancy and childbirth. Her nervous system is more finely tuned to potential threats. This is not a weakness, it is a survival mechanism. Her deepest desire is for a man whose presence communicates one simple, powerful message. With me you can let go. You can be soft. You can be vulnerable. I will handle it. I will protect you from it all. Let me tell you about a marriage I witnessed on the brink of collapse. Liam and Chloe. Liam lost his job as an architect. It was a huge blow to his ego. He became withdrawn, irritable, and spent his days aimlessly scrolling through job boards, radiating an energy of fear and uncertainty. Chloe, trying to be supportive, started picking up extra shifts as a nurse. She started managing the family budget with an iron fist, questioning every single expense. She became tense, controlling, and critical of Liam. From Liam's perspective, she was kicking him when he was down. He felt she didn't believe in him. From her perspective, the captain had abandoned the helm in the middle of a storm. The sense of financial and emotional safety had evaporated, and her primal programming kicked into high gear. She felt she had to take control because she perceived him as having lost it. Her nagging and control were not signs of disrespect. They were a terrified response to the crumbling of her sanctuary. What could Liam have done differently? Imagine this scenario instead. He gets the news and of course he feels the fear and the sting of failure. But after allowing himself a day to process, he sits Chloe down. He holds her hands, looks her directly in the eye and says with a calm he does not entirely feel but projects nonetheless, "I have some tough news. I lost my job. This is going to be a challenge, but I want you to hear me clearly. We are going to be okay. I will not let this family fail. I have a plan." For the next 2 weeks, I'll be networking and updating my portfolio. I will handle finding a new source of income. Your job is to focus on the kids and keeping our home a place of peace. Do not worry about the money. Just trust me. Do you feel the difference? In the first scenario, he flooded the home with his fear. In the second, he built a wall around her with his certainty. Even though the external circumstances are identical, his leadership completely changes the emotional reality of their home. In the second scenario, he is creating safety even in the midst of crisis. He is telling her, with his energy and his words, that she can remain in her feminine, nurturing role because he is firmly planted in his masculine, problem-solving role. He is offering her the gift of not having to worry. This is the sanctuary. The psychology of this is fascinating. When a person feels unsafe, their body is flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone. This puts them in a state of fight or flight. This is the state Chloe was in, controlling, critical, anxious. It's impossible to feel attraction, love, or the desire to surrender when you are in fight or flight. When a man creates a deep sense of safety, it allows a woman's body to produce oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This is the hormone of trust, love, and connection. It is the chemical foundation of her surrender. Your job as a man is to be a walking, talking antidote to her cortisol. The tactical playbook for building this sanctuary is about consistency. First, become a man of your word. If you say you are going to do something, do it. Every broken promise, no matter how small, is a crack in the foundation of her trust. Integrity is the bedrock of safety. Second, learn to be an impeccable listener, but a selective problem solver. She doesn't always want you to fix her problems. Often she just wants to be heard, to have her emotions validated in the safety of your presence. The wrong way is to immediately jump in with solutions. The right way is to listen, to nod, to say, "That sounds really hard," and to just hold that space for her. Be her harbor, not her mechanic. You only step into problem-solving mode when it's a genuine crisis that threatens the sanctuary, like the job loss scenario. Third, you must have your financial house in order. Nothing makes a woman feel more unsafe than a man who is irresponsible with money. It signals to her primal brain that he cannot be trusted with the family's future. You don't have to be a millionaire, but you must be a competent steward of your resources. You must have a plan, a budget, and the discipline to stick to it. This financial stability is a massive pillar in the sanctuary you are building for her. When you consistently provide this multi-layered safety, something magical happens. She stops testing you so much. She stops questioning your decisions. She begins to bring her problems to you not as a challenge, but as an offering, trusting that you can handle them. She stops trying to control everything because she finally feels safe enough to let go. She has found her sanctuary. She has found her man. You have built your inner frame. You have created a sanctuary of safety. Now we arrive at the practical application, leadership, and this is where many men, even with the best intentions, get it wrong. They mistake leadership for dictatorship. They think leading means giving orders, making unilateral decisions, and expecting her to fall in line. This approach will always, without fail, breed resentment and rebellion. It is the leadership of a tyrant, not a king. A true leader, the kind of man a woman joyfully surrenders to, practices what I call covert leadership. It is the art of guiding the family toward your vision with such skill that she feels not commanded, but enrolled. She feels like an honored and essential part of the journey. Even while you are clearly at the helm, it is a dance of strength and inclusion. Let's go back to Mark and Jessica, the couple from the beginning who argued about their finances. Mark's old approach was to present a plan and then get defensive when she questioned it. This is overt, clumsy leadership. It invites a power struggle. Now let's imagine Mark has been working on his frame and creating safety. He wants to implement a new, more aggressive investment strategy to secure their future. The dictator would say, "Jessica, I've decided we're moving our money into these funds. It's happening on Friday." The result? A fight. Resentment. The covert leader does it differently. He schedules a time to talk, maybe over a glass of wine after the kids are in bed. He sets a calm, connected tone. He starts not with his plan, but with the vision. He might say, "Honey, I was thinking about our future. I have this vision of us being able to travel the world when we're 60. of being able to help our kids with a down payment on their first house without even blinking. He has just painted a picture of a shared, beautiful destination. He has enrolled her in the why before even mentioning the what. He has made it about us, not me. Then he continues. I've been doing a lot of research on how to get us there faster and more securely. I've looked at several strategies and I've identified one that I believe is the right path for our family. It involves some changes to our current portfolio. Notice he says, I've identified, not, I think maybe we should. He is communicating calm certainty. He then lays out the plan in simple terms. He anticipates her fears and addresses them preemptively. I know it seems a bit more aggressive than we're used to, and I know your primary concern is always the security of our nest egg. That's why I've built in these specific safeguards to protect our principal. He is showing her that he has considered her perspective. He has honored her natural inclination towards security. He isn't dismissing her feelings. He is demonstrating that his plan accounts for them. Finally, he concludes not by asking for permission, but by affirming his leadership. This is the direction I'm taking us. I want you to feel excited about it, because this is for our future, for our family. The psychology here is masterful. He has aligned her with the vision, honored her concerns, demonstrated his competence, and asserted his final decision-making authority in a way that feels protective, not controlling. He has led. He has not dictated. A woman will fight a dictator to the death. She will joyfully follow a leader like this to the ends of the earth. This applies to all areas of life. Planning a vacation, moving to a new city, deciding on schools for your children. The formula is the same. 1. Establish the vision. Sell her on the destination first. Make it a shared dream. 2. Demonstrate competence. Show her that you have done your homework. You are not being impulsive. 3. Honor her concerns. Acknowledge and validate her perspective and fears. Show her how your plan addresses them. 4. Make the call. State the decision with calm, loving finality. Take responsibility for the outcome. This last point is crucial. True leadership means taking ultimate responsibility. If the investment fails, the covert leader does not say, well, you were on board with it too. He says, this was my call and it didn't work out as planned. It's on me. Here is my new plan to fix it. This radical ownership is perhaps the most powerful and attractive masculine trait of all. It shows her that she is safe to trust your decisions, because even if you fail, you will not abandon her or blame her. You will carry the burden of the consequences yourself. This makes her feel unbelievably secure. Your tactical playbook for covert leadership is to practice this 4-step process on smaller decisions first. Don't start with a multi-million-dollar investment. Start with planning a weekend trip. Start with choosing a new appliance for the kitchen. Use the formula. Cast the vision. Imagine us having amazing coffee every morning from a machine that doesn't break down. Show your research. I've looked at 3 models in our budget, and this one has the best reviews for reliability. Honor her concerns. I know you care about counter space, so I made sure to get the dimensions. And make the call. I'm going to order this one tonight. I think we'll love it. As you successfully use this method over and over, her trust in your leadership will compound. She will begin to relax more and more, knowing that you have a vision, you do your homework, you care about her feelings, and you are willing to take responsibility. You are not taking away her voice. You are simply taking away her burden of having to be the final decider. You are giving her the gift of following a leader she can believe in.